Welcome to the operating system class. So now we are going to learn about the servers. So what is server? Server is a computer system that provides certain types of services in a network. And kind of server, it can be file server, database server, printer server, web server, DHCP server, and mail server. So as you can see right here, when we are building a computer server, so our computer server can be used for file server or database server, printer server, web server, DHCP server, and mail server. So we are going to discuss one by one of this kind of server. So the first one is file server. File server is a computer system as a center for storing and managing file data. So if you know that you are using Google Drive, right? So Google Drive is kind of the file server. And computers that act as servers and client must be connected to the same network. So if we are going to create a computer server as a file server for a local network, so we must use a LAN or Wi-Fi connections. Similar concept of to file sharing in week 4. Yeah. In more sophisticated networks, the file server can become a network attached storage or NAS. So if you are already installed the XAMPP, you know XAMPP, and there is one feature for file server, and we call it as FileZilla, right? So yeah, it can be used for file server. And for the file server architecture, we have one file server computer, and every client computer will be connected to the same network if we are going to create a local file server. But if we create a global file server like Google Drive, we will not use this architecture, right? So if we are creating the local file server, we must connect it to the same network, right? We can use hub, LAN, or Wi-Fi connection. And the second one is database server. Database server is a computer program that serves database management and applications that use database with the client server model. And database server provides a management system service, which means that users can perform several unique arrangements to create data. So there are a lot of kind of database server like SQL Server or MySQL Server, MariaDB, NoSQL, and etc. So yeah, database server is just service for storing and getting data from database, right? And this is the database architecture. So we have database server, and we also have client which will connect to the database server, right? So actually database server will use TCP IP connection or protocol, right? Okay. And then this is kind of the database server like Microsoft Access. As I was mentioning before, there is a SQL Server, Oracle Database, MySQL, and MariaDB. And the third one is printer server. Printer server is a computer that is connected to one or more printers on a network that will receive print commands from another computer and send it to a specified printer. So if you have a computer in your home or in your office, then the computer connect to the printer, and you have another computer that connect in the same network with that computer. So you can use the computer will connect to the printer server or printer to print from that computer. Okay, so I mean, if you have a computer in your office or in your home, then you also have a printer and you have more than one computer, right? So actually all computer does not connect to the one computer. Printer server is a computer that is connected to one or more printers on a network that will receive print commands from another computer and send it to a specified printer. In this modern era, there are printers that act directly as servers without having to have a computer acting as a server. So if you have more than one computer in your home or in your office, and you also have a printer that connect to the one of your computer, so you can use that for a printer server. So all of the computer doesn't need to connect to that printer, right? So you just need to connect one of your computer to the server, to the printer. Then all of the computer that connect to the same network with that computer can access that printer. So that is the classic printer server. But in this modern era, there are printers that act directly as a server. So as you can see right here, this is the classical printer server. So the printer must connect to the one of the computer. Then the print server, the computer, will connect to the same network with the client, right? But for the dedicated printer server, the printer doesn't need to connect to one of your computer. It just need to connect to the router, for example, right? So then all of the computer will can use this printer, right? And the next one is web server. Web server is a system that provides data services and function to accept HTTP requests or HTTPS sent by clients. Client requests are sent via a browser. The response from the server will be sent back to the client from web pages. So if you have take the web programming course, you know that web server is just a service that can accept requests by using HTTP protocol, right? So for example, for the web server, you can use Apache or IIS. Yeah. Then this is the web server architecture. So we have a computer that acts as a web server. Then it connected to the internet, and we have a client right here, and the client will use the browser for getting information from the web server, right? So the browser can be Google Chrome or Mozilla or Safari, something like that. And how the web server works. So actually, if you can see, as you can see right here, we have a web server. Then inside the web server is just a computer server. So we have a computer server that inside the computer, it runs the web server. Then the web server will connect to the web application and database. Then every time when the client connect to the web server, it will request the HTTP GET, and the web server will reply with the HTTP response. So actually, when we have a web application inside the web server, so this is the server side. So web application, it can be used a database also. When we have a web application, and it also use the database, so web application will connect to the database and also the files maybe. Then web server will use all of this to request to respond the client, right? So this is the kind of web server. Like from the Microsoft, we have Microsoft IIS and also Apache HTTP server, like Pro, Zeus, Lightspeed web server. And the next one is the DHCP server. So what is the DHCP server? The DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol. Server is a computer system that automatically assigns IP address to client computers. So as you can see right here, the DHCP server will provide the IP to all of the clients that connect to the DHCP server. So actually, if you have a router in your home or in your office, so your router will be a DHCP server. So we can call our router as a DHCP server. So our router will provide an available IP, right? So then our router will assign the IP to all of the client. It can be a computer or smartphone or smart TV, something like that. And the DHCP is a protocol based on client-server architecture to facilitate the allocation of IP address in the network. So there are some methods for the DHCP allocation. There are three ways that the DHCP server either assigns or sends an IP address to a client. For the first one is automatic allocation. The DHCP server assigns a permanent IP address to a client from the IP pools. On the firewall, a list specified as unlimited means the allocation is permanent. So by default, we will use automatic allocation. So when there is a client that connects to a router, our router will give the IP to that client, right? So if we use a dynamic allocations, we will give the temporary access to the network to every client. So for example, we have 300 clients, but our router can only handle 255 clients. So what will happen with another 45 clients that want to connect to our router? So we will give the temporary access to 255 clients in the range of time. So for example, one client will only get the IP for 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the router will give that IP to another client, right? So it's temporary access to the network. Okay, it happens if we have a limited number of IP address, but we have a lot of clients that want to connect to our server, right? So for static allocation, the network administrator chooses the IP address to assign to the client, and the DHCP server sends it to the client. A static DHCP allocation is permanent. It is done by configuring a DHCP server and choosing a reserved address correspond to the MAC address of the client. So for the static allocations, it means we will give the static IP to the certain device. So every device will have a MAC address, right? MAC address. Then we will assign that MAC address to the specific IP. So it means if we have a device in our network, then I I want to give a static IP to the device. So we will assign that MAC address with the IP address. So for example, if you have a computer in your home, then you want that computer will get the same IP every time connect to the router. I want that computer have the same IP. So we will use the static allocation for that. Okay. So the next one is mail server. Mail server is a service provided in the network for storing and distribution in the form of sending, routing, and receiving email. So mail server run with several protocols, namely XAMPP, POP3, and IMAP. So we will talk it later. And mail server also has three main components: mail transfer agent, mail delivery agent, and mail user agent, MUA. Okay. So we will discuss about the SMTP first. So SMTP is simple mail transfer protocol. Yeah, it's mostly used for sending out email from an email client. For example, Microsoft Outlook, Thunderbird, or Apple Mail to an email server. So the SMTP is just protocol for sending the email to the mail server. So we have mail server and we have another mail server. So if we want to send the email from this client to this client, so actually the first step is this computer will send to the mail server first, but we will use the SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, for sending the email, right? So for example, we have more than one mail server. So for example, this is mail server for Gmail, and this is the mail server from the Yahoo Mail. So to send the mail from the client from the client to the mail server, or mail server to another mail server, we will use the SMTP, right? It's just for sending the email. And the next one is POP3. POP3 or IMAP. Yeah, we have POP3 and IMAP for for the protocol for receiving the mail. Okay, for receiving the mail from the mail server, yeah, for the receiving the mail from the mail server to the client, we will use two protocols. So this is the optional. We can use POP3 or IMAP. So if we use the POP3 protocol, as shown in the figure above, the post office protocol is just POP, POP3, because the latest version of POP is a 3, so we can call it as a POP3. Yeah, it's used to retrieve email messages from a mail server to mail client. And the latest version, which is what we use, is version 3. Hence, the term is POP3. POP version 3, which is specified through RFC 1939, supports extension and several authentication mechanism. So, generally speaking, of POP3 client retrieves email in the following manner. So the client will connect to the email server from by using the port 110 or 995 for SSL or TLS connection, and retrieve email messages, delete copies of the messages stored on the server, and disconnect from the server. So basically, if we use the POP3 protocol, we will get all of the email from the mail server and download it to the computer, to our computer. Then we will delete all of the message in the mail server. So it's just like, yeah, we will getting by downloading the mail from the mail server and to our computer or our device. Then we will delete all of the message or all of the mail from the mail server. So if we have downloaded the mail, so we can get it again. We will not can get it again from our mail server, because we have downloaded and deleted from the mail server. So it's different with IMAP. IMAP, especially the current version of IMAP4, is a more sophisticated protocol. It allows users to group related messages and place them in folders, which can in turn be arranged hierarchically. So here's how IMAP works in a nutshell. So connect to the mail server on port 143 or 993 for SSL or TLS connection, retrieve email messages, and stays connected until the mail client app is closed and downloads message on demand. So basically, we know the differences between POP3 and IMAP. If we use the IMAP, our mail server, yeah, we not download the mail messages to our computer or our device, but we can just stream the message from the mail server. So actually, our mail still available in our mail server. Okay, yeah, it depends in our case study. We will discuss it later. For the server storage space, if we have limited storage in our server, yeah, we can use the POP3, because every time when the email received by our mail server and we want to get it that mail, we just download it to our device, then we will delete it all the message in our mail server. So if we have limited storage space, we can choose the POP3. But if we want to get our mail anytime and anywhere access, we can use the IMAP, because yeah, if you have downloaded your email to your device and you have more than one device, then our first device and our second device can get the same mail, because we will not delete it, our mail in our mail server, right? So if you want to access anytime and anywhere, you can choose the IMAP. And for the synchronization, yeah, for instance, if you read messages A, B, and C, then you will want this message to be also marked as read on another device. Yeah, as I was mentioning before, if we have more than one device, it's better if we choose the IMAP, right? For the organization, because IMAP allows user to arrange messages in a hierarchical fashion and place them in a folder, it's certainly better at helping user organize. So we can use the IMAP protocol for the organization. And for the computational overhead, if we have limited resource in our mail server, it's better if we use the POP3 protocol. And for the privacy, this is one concern that would weigh heavily on end users who frequently deal with the confidential information. We can choose the POP3 protocol if we want to secure our email, because after we get the email from the mail server, we will delete all of the message, all of the email from our mail server. It's for the privacy, it's better if you choose the POP3. And the next one is, this is another component in the mail server. We will talk it later. So I will show you the architecture for the mail server. This is the MUA, mail user agent. It can be Gmail, or maybe you use Thunderbird or Microsoft Outlook. This is the MUA, mail user agent. It's just an application that interact with the sender and receiver. Then the MUA will send the message to the MSA. So what is MSA? Mail submission agent, by using the XAMPP protocol, because the sender send the message, right? So XAMPP protocol will bring the message or mail to the MSA. Then after that, MSA will send the message to the MTA. So what is MTA? Mail transfer agent. It's just a term in mail server. By using the XAMPP protocol, then MTA will send that mail to the another mail server. For example, we have the sender and the receiver use different mail server. For the sender, they use Gmail, and for the receiver, they use Microsoft Outlook. Microsoft Mail. I don't know what is the name of the Microsoft mail server. So then after that, the MTA will send to the MDA. What is MDA? Mail delivery agent. Mail delivery agent. Then the MDA will send the message or the mail to the MUA by using the POP3 or IMAP server, right? Because for the receiving email, we will use the MDE, mail delivery agent, and also the POP3 and IMAP for the protocol for getting the message or getting the mail from our mail server. So the next one is XAMPP. I know that you have used the XAMPP in another course. I believe that you have understand about the XAMPP. So actually the XAMPP is just X program can run in any OS. A is Apache, is a web server. M is MySQL, is a database server. P is PHP. The first P is PHP, web programming language, and the last P is Perl, programming language for Unix OS. So why we call it as XAMPP? Because it run many feature in the XAMPP. And the XAMPP Essentials, and for the control panel, you can serve to manage the XAMPP service. For example, stopping a service or starting the service. You can use the control panel for starting the service for Apache, MySQL, FileZilla, and something like that. And you can also use the PHPMyAdmin, right? For user interface, for use the database, MySQL database, by using the typing this link localhost/phpMyAdmin in your browser. And then htdocs. The htdocs is just a folder where the files that will be run, such as PHP, HTML, and other scripts. And for the assessment, you need to install the XAMPP and Mozilla Thunderbird. Then you need to look for ways to create a mail server using XAMPP and Mozilla Thunderbird that you have installed. And You need to make a complete and clear documentation of steps to create a mail server in point 2. So you just need to create a PPT, yeah, PowerPoint. Then you need to submit it to Google Classroom. Then for the next meeting, we will discuss it together, right? We will discuss it. So yeah, thank you for watching this video.